Hey guys! So if you're watching this, you're watching the replay, so thank you for coming back and watching. But these last couple of days, trying to think of what do I want to get across with this live for you guys, with this training. And what an awesome opportunity to be surrounded by so many amazing people. Edie has cherry-picked the best of the best of the best. You know what? I can see you guys jumping on. Can you, if you're watching live, can you drop a comment to let me know if I can see comments? Because Facebook hates me and I don't think I can see comments. I even uninstalled my app and reinstalled it. So I don't think I can see comments. Hang on, I'm gonna have to move over. Let me do some things while I'm chatting with you, so that way I can see your comments, because I hate not being able to interact with you guys. So Edie had it sent me a message and she was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And I remember, watching these, a while back, and turn off the sound so that way it doesn't echo. A while back. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, look at all these awesome comments. Hey guys. Okay, cool. So now that means I have to pull this down and then also have my notes. Because you guys, when Edie asked me to come and share, she sent me the list of things to choose from. And I was like, I have no idea which of these to pick. And so I said, Edie, you know me. Because if you guys don't know, Edie is my sponsor. I was like, Edie, you know me and you know me really well. What do you want me to talk about? And she started out talking about the techie side, right? Like numbers and reporting. I track everything that I can track. So much so that I can tell you what my commission check is going to be today. I can tell you what my commission check was going to be on the 10th of March. Every single day I wake up and I plug in my numbers so I know exactly where I stand with my money, because I'm in this business to make money, right? And so she started off with that, and then she's like, you know what? Hold that thought. I think what I would rather you talk about is mindset. And I'm like, I don't really talk about mindset. That's not really something that I preach about or talk about. It's important to have, of course, we all know that. But I feel like mindset is kind of like beating a dead horse, if I can say that, right? So I feel like we talk about it so much, but I feel that way because I have a good mindset. And there are people out there, and some of you might be watching this, that don't have the best mindset. And honestly, you might not know that you don't have the best mindset. So I said, you know what? There is this book that I listen to all the time. Do you guys have books like that? I need to be looking over in the comments, sorry. Do you guys have books like that, or audio? I'm more of an audio person, where it's like, you know what? I'm not feeling it today. And you're like, I know what to do. I'm going to put on my book. And so that just ramps me up every time. Like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this. So I'm going to give you 20. I know that's a lot, but we're going to go through it really quick. 20 different personalities, qualities, and habits that successful people have, that unsuccessful people don't have as much as, or do as much. So I had put up in the top that there are two things that make a person successful. It's what they do and how much they do it. Successful people, they know what their bread and butter is, and they know what the dessert is, right? Like the fluff, the things that I can do a little bit later. And I'm jumping ahead of myself, but they know what their most income producing activities are. If you're familiar with the 80-20 rule, 80% of our income is coming from 20% of our efforts. 80% of our income is coming from 20% of our team. So successful people know what that top 20% activities that they do, people on their team, and they double down. They'd go 10x on those things. So that's one thing that they do. It's the activities that they do. The second one, I need to move my notes over because I can see myself behind me and it's delayed and I'm just like waving everywhere, so I apologize. Okay, so, and then the second thing is going to be their mindset. They think differently. And honestly, you can always change your mind. You can always change your mind. That's one of the things. I have two little girls. Well, they're not so little anymore, but I have two little girls. And that's one of the things that I have always instilled in them is you can always change your mind. If you say, I want to go because they're having breakfast with, Dad this morning. Do you want to go to Denny's? Yes, we want to go to Denny's. And then as they're walking out the door, like, wait, we want to go somewhere else. It is always okay to change your mind, okay? But in the mindset space, just a little backstory. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Kimberly. Hi, I'm the leader of the Fragrance Collective. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Oh, I can see some familiar faces. That's exciting. Okay, so when I first came into Scentsy, I hit the ground running. I earned all my Fast Start awards. I built a team and I shot up super fast. And then all of a sudden, I honestly don't know what happened, but I was like, I don't need this. Why am I putting so much time and effort into this? But there was an event. There was a moment. There was a shift. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, I chatted about this the other day. There was a moment where it was literally like a light switch in my brain. I had found the person that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And I knew that we were going to want to have kids together. And I knew at the time I was working at Target, I oversaw 20 of the highest volume targets in the country, 60-hour weeks, on call 24/7. I knew I wasn't going to want to continue doing that. And so I said, you know what? I have this thing over here that I have just let fall. And I was set to cancel 3 or 4 times. And one of those times was in November of all times, one of the biggest selling months. I was set to cancel. But thankfully, I never canceled. I was able to turn that light switch on. And I think it was in August or September, because it was when the Chasing Fireflies warmer came out. And I was like, I know that I can sell the heck out of that warmer. Where I live, I know that decor is going to do amazing. And so I said, okay, I am now going to make Scentsy a priority. And I'm going to pour all of my extra resources into this. From that moment, I haven't stopped. And that was 7 years ago. And I've been a consultant for over a decade. So those first 3 years were just, right? But that mindset shift, it was a click on, and I have never stopped. I have never stopped. That mentality, I'm giving everything into this business because I know what it can provide for me, right? And Edie is so grateful. You're so funny. Okay, so, like I said, one of the things that I do is I don't keep things in my brain, because if I keep them in my brain, I'm not going to remember anything. It's just going to all get jumbled up. So I've literally written everything down. It's all in bullet points. So if you see me looking over here, I'm looking at my notes because I want to make sure that I hit everything. I don't want to leave one stone unturned. But at the end, after I give you everything, I'm going to tell you where you can get more, right? The book that I'm referencing, and some of you might have already heard it, read it before, but it is literally one of my favorites. And if you're like me, I'm like, go, 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 go. I love Audible on 2X. So you can listen to this book in 4 hours. If you have a Saturday where you're not doing anything and you're just cleaning or, decluttering, what have you, you can listen to this book super fast. But again, this book gets me super pumped. Okay, so first, let me get back up to the top. Being successful has nothing to do with your economics. It has nothing to do with your education or your demographic, but it has everything to do with the habits and those personality traits that I mentioned, and these just qualities of these people. And the best thing about it, and what makes it so great, because it's not your economics education, right? It's not those things. that means that the other things can be learned. You can pick them up, which is great, right? So I'm going to give you those 20. There's a lot more than 20 in the book. I chose the 20 that I knew were going to resonate most with you and resonate most with me. And then I also kind of tagged in some pieces that would make it more relatable as well. And honestly, you guys, the only way to be successful is to do what successful people do, right? So the best example that we have are people in our upline. So people who are superstar directors, or honestly, like I'm not a superstar director yet, but I know that I have people watching me. So look to the people who are doing the things that you want to do and doing them well, and then just mimic, just do what they do, right? Okay, so the first thing, like I said, I'm gonna give you 20, so if you wanna write down each one. First one is going to be to have a can-do attitude. I know that's and all of these are gonna be like, that's really obvious. They are, they're very obvious. You might not be surprised, but some of them might ruffle feathers, might make you feel, right? So if that's the case, then that means that the shoe probably fits. And that's the one that you should focus on, right? Okay, so have a can-do attitude. So really, no matter what it is, it can be done. I can do it. We got this. You got this. It can be done. Now, this is not to be confused with toxic positivity. And we're probably going to mention that again also. It's not toxic positivity, but you can do anything. You can get through anything. So people with this type of mindset or attitude, they know that everything is figure-outable, which is the next one. Everything is figure-outable. So if you don't already follow Marie Forleo, that's her saying, everything is figure-outable. It doesn't matter what it is, you can figure out how to do it. So for example, while some people or just think globally when things happen, right? So for example, with consultants, when bundles sell out, let's think Tinselgate if you've been around a while, or just more recently with the Warm Welcome kit or bundle. When those things sell out, yes, it is upsetting because we have put a lot of effort into marketing these kits and even collecting pre-orders, and we've missed out on it. And then we missed out on the second one that came out, right? So yes, that is upsetting. But what can I do to make it better? I can do this. I can figure it out, right? So these consultants put together other bundles. Just head to the clearance tab, all these ways to make things better for your customer. So number one, have a can-do attitude. Next, believe that you're gonna figure it out. That's number two. So again, this goes hand in hand with that can-do attitude. So successful people are always taking ownership and responsibility when things go wrong. And they try to solve the problem. Kind of like what I just mentioned. There's always a solution to everything. You just have to have the can-do attitude and the mental capacity to be like, I can figure this out. It is figure out, and everything is figure outable. And here's one thing too. So if you don't know how to do something, or if you don't know the answer to a question, maybe to a teamie or to a customer of yours, I normally don't say, I don't know. I always say, let me find out. So that one implies that I don't know, but it also shows that I'm going to look for a solution, right? So one thing, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the last live on customer service, is let's say, and this happened 2 days ago, I had a customer who messaged me and said, hey, I really want the honey pot warmer. And I was like, how easy is it for me to say it's not available? I can't get it. It is super easy because it's on my website. That's just the most simple solution, right? But the difference between just a regular consultant and one who takes it to the next level for her customer or his customer and gets that lifelong loyal customer is someone who figures it out. And everywhere on Facebook, in the social land, there are posts that are in search of. I put it on the in search of. I found it in like less than a day. I made her happy, right? So she is now a lifelong, well, she already was, but like she knows. And I had shared it on my team page. She's like, I know if anybody can find this, I know you can find this. So figure it out. You can figure it out. And honestly, you guys, do you know the best place to go to figure things out? Is Google. I love me some Google. If someone has a question, I'm just going to go Google first because Google knows everything. All right, next up, number 3 is successful people take risks. Ooh, that's a tough one. Successful people take risks. And you know what? They take risks every single day. I'm going to tell you at the end, Tanya, which book it is. So most people don't do the thing because they're afraid that whatever it is, it's going to hurt their ego or their reputation. But one thing about you is you've already done the thing. You've already joined. That in itself is the first step. So now you have to take it one more step and launch your business. And I know we say this all the time. If someone says no, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to what you offer. They are not your target market. You have to find the people. And this all goes back to attraction marketing, right? You have to figure out who are you marketing to? Because some people are going to market to new moms. Some people are going to market to pet owners. I can think of very specific people that is their target market. So you have to figure out who are you marketing to and just market to those people. But successful people, they are willing to gamble their ego. They don't care how you think they look. Don't care how you look to other people. Their thoughts and opinions of you, they don't pay your bills. And if they do have thoughts and opinions of you that are negative, who cares? They're not paying your bills. Who cares? Just do it anyway. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. So they allow themselves to be criticized, to be looked at, to be scrutinized. So if I know this is a big one for a lot of people, like I don't want to put it out there. I don't want to go live. I don't want to do the thing because I'm sweating. I'm sweating right now and I'm talking to people that I know, right? Do the thing. When you get to the other side of discomfort, do you know what happens? And I'm jumping ahead. That is where courage comes from. When you live in discomfort, you are always courageous. If you just stay in your comfort zone, the way to build that courage, that muscle, is you have to do the thing. You got to do the thing. So you got to take the risk. You're going to gain courage. And the next time you're like, that wasn't so bad. I don't know why I was making that such a big deal. I'm going to hit that live button again. I'm going to call that, or not call. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't pick up the phone, but I'm going to text that person and ask them to join my team, right? So take the risk. The worst they can do is say no. Next person, right? The whole coffee or stick of gum analogy. And so the unsuccessful, they hold back. They play it safe. And that's not you. Number 4 is be unreasonable. So we wouldn't have Facebook parties. We wouldn't have basket parties that were mentioned earlier today. We wouldn't have spreadsheets for follow-up. What was Chad earlier say? Like, we wouldn't have these things if someone was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge what is being done right now and I do something different. And look where we are now, right? What percentage of consultants do home parties compared to Facebook parties? It is a much lower percentage than what it was before the pandemic. And even before the pandemic, we were doing Facebook parties, right? But like more people were like, oh, Facebook parties, that's just so much easier, just taking it out of the home and into another modality. But we wouldn't have those things. So one thing that I like to do is I like to live in the unreasonable. I love to think of what's next. What can I do next? So like the shop and scroll, I was doing that last February. I'm on to something else, right? What else can I do? Something different. But I'm always trying to think, how can I do things differently? How can I do things better than what I was doing before? How can I do things first? Which is really always exciting, but live in the unreasonable. All right, next up is number 5. Oh, I love it, Heather. Okay, number 5 is readily take action. So highly successful people take massive amounts of action, kind of like what I mentioned in the beginning. So that whole 80-20 rule, they know that follow-up is a number 1 income producing activity. If you ask on any of these groups, hey, what are your top IPAs? Follow-up is mentioned more than anything else. So that probably makes a lot of you sweat in itself. But how can you follow up and then increase your follow-up? So we know 222, 113 as far as like the follow-ups, but how can you take it beyond those? How, like, do you have like some type of text marketing or email marketing or snail mail marketing? Like, how can you show up consistently so that way you stay top of mind? So when they're ready, which might not always be within those first 3 follow-ups that people normally stop after, you're still there, right? Okay. Unsuccessful people talk about what they're going to do, but they never get around to it. One of the things that I value most is action. So like I told you, I track everything. I see all my numbers all the time, all of my team numbers all the time. So if someone says, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, they can tell me all day that they're going to do X, Y, and Z. I live in the realm of facts, right? I can look at your numbers and see that that didn't happen or it didn't happen enough. Right? So stop talking about what you're going to do and just do it. Just do it. Draw a line in the sand. Today, I'm going to do the thing that scares me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to book the parties. I'm going to have the conversations. I'm going to go out and network and meet new people. Do the thing. So successful people assume their future achievements rely on vesting in actions, and they know that those actions might not pay off until sometime in the future. And we talk about this a lot, right? The things that you do today, the follow-up that you do today, the messages that you do today, it might not become fruitful today, but it is going to become fruitful at some point. I have people, like I said, I've been in this business over a decade now. I have people who I have known my entire life, and they're just now ordering. They're just now ready. So for the people who are just now starting and they're like, none of my friends and family want to buy from me. Honestly, my entire customer list, 99% isn't my friends or family. So you have to, yes. So, but you have to do those actions. You have to continually show up. You have to show up. Sorry, it looks like I'm like talking to myself over here. Sorry, looking at your comments. Okay, so taking action, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's not something that we've inherited. It's like a muscle that we have to flex. It's a habit. So how can you start small to get into action, to get comfortable, to gain that courage, and then 2x it, 3x it, right? How can you scale it beyond what you're doing right now? And we already talked about the 80-20 rule, so we'll skip all that. All right, number 6, always say yes. I need to go faster. So always say yes. And this is also like the whole toxic positivity, but never say no until you have to. So there was a point the last 6 months of 2022, this last year, where I was saying no to everything. And it honestly became my mentality that I need to start saying no more because this is about me. I need to be selfish. But what I realized once I came out of it is the reason why I was saying no was because I had such crazy brain fog. So like doing live trainings, going into like people's places and training, like I was saying no because I couldn't even get my thoughts out. So there are those times, but if you can say yes, say yes. Say yes until you can't say yes anymore. So have you ever seen the movie Yes Man? I think that is such a really great movie for this type of like mindset. Is his life opened up. He had more experiences and the possibilities were just endless when he started saying yes. Would you like to go skydive? Yes. Would you like to start your own business? Yes. Would you like to do this? Yes. Right? Say yes. Say yes more. If that scares you, say yes more than you say no. I'm getting so ahead of myself. Another thing too, and this, again, these all kind of like builds on top of each other. Commit first and then figure it out, because everything is figure outable, right? So I told Edie, yes, I will do this. I have no idea what I'm going to say, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out, right? So always say yes. And so what happens if a customer says, hey, all of my friends, like, they're not using Facebook anymore, but I still want to do a party, but you only do Facebook parties? What do? Do you tell them no? Or do you figure it out? You figure it out. You figure it out. You figure out how to do a Zoom party or a text party or that shop and scroll. Like, you figure out other ways to do it. Okay, number 7 is habitually commit. Unsuccessful people rarely commit to anything. They rarely commit to anything. So one of the things that I always see is, I'll try to do it. When you give them a task, I'll try to do it. I'll try to get it done. But the people who I see, when I look at their numbers, they're like, what else? Right? When you ask them to jump, they say, how high? Right? So what else? What else can I do? And so normally when unsuccessful people do commit to things, it's on non-income producing activities. They're going to spend their time making samples, and there is a time and place for samples. Do not twist my words there, but they spend all of their time making samples, or all of their time in Canva, or all of their time making graphics, right? Those are not income producing activities, okay? But you have to stop dipping your toes in the water. You have to jump in feet first. All of a sudden, I see a comment. That's amazing. Yes. Oh, you're so welcome, Jennifer. Oh, that's so awesome. I hope I continue seeing comments over here. And honestly, you guys, the springtime is the best time to start doing new things, because this is the time where it's normally a little bit slower. You have time to test things out, try those new things. And then in the fall, that's when you're head down. That's not the time to try new things. You know that what you did in the spring worked. And so that is when you double down on those specific tasks that you did. All right, number 8 is go all the way. So only doing half the activities isn't going to achieve anything, and then just tiring you out because you have nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. So I know that we talk about like milestones with goals, like, yay, I made it a quarter of the way, or yay, I made it halfway. But I encourage you to stop rewarding yourself and celebrating until you get the big goal, until you get to that final place, right? So, and honestly, don't stop until you've gotten the thing, until you've gone all the way, until you've gotten the sale, until they've joined your team, right? Until you've started that YouTube channel. Do it. Do it. Go all the way. Commit and go for it. Okay, so number 9, focus on the now. I'm trying to look at my time. Okay, so there are only 2 times for the successful: now and the future. The successful only look at the past to look at the data in order to predict the future. The unsuccessful pretty much live in the past. Well, I can't do that because it's always been this way. Or, you get that feeling, right? But if you're successful, you focus on now and the future. So if you put off doing what you can do right now, you are never going to gain the momentum and the confidence that you can get from just doing it. Eat the frog. Eat the frog. That's another book that you can read. But eat the frog. Stop procrastinating. There's also a really great graphic that I like to share every once in a while, and it's of a fox and a bunny. And I don't know who is who in this situation, but we'll just say the fox is like, oh, I really want to start a garden. And the bunny's like, me too. And so the fox is like, I should probably till my soil and like put up a fence. And on the other side of the graphic, the bunny is like, doing. And then the next line down, the fox is like, I should probably also research which seeds to get. And the bunny is like, watering. And at the very end, the fox is like looking at the bunny like, how did you grow a garden so fast? And the bunny's like, I just did it. I just got started. I just did it. So Focus on the now. Don't think about anything else, just right now. While others are trying to figure it out, how they'll get something done, you will have already finished it. All right, number 10, demonstrate courage, which you've already talked about, so we'll kind of jump over. So we know in order to get courageous, you got to do the thing. Courage comes to those who act. So number 11 is determine and take the right approach. So the unsuccessful always find things to be difficult. Do you know why? Because they never take the time to improve themselves. So think about the last time that you tried something new. Did you only try it one time and it was like, that didn't work? Or did you give it time? So a lot of times whenever people try things new, so we're just going to take Facebook parties because Facebook parties is next. If the Facebook party flopped, why? Don't say, I'm never doing this again. Why did it flop? There are so many different variables, especially if you're using something that is proven from your upline to be successful, then it is one of two things, two things. It's either you and how you are communicating to your host and to those people, the guest, or it's the host. So what do you have control over? You have control over you. How you respond, how you communicate, the verbiage that you use. Was it the right host coaching? Do I need to tweak some things out, make it sound more like me? Should I not send this message and send this one instead? Or did the host just not do the things that you encouraged her to do? Did she not follow or he follow the host coaching? Okay. So, I'm jumping ahead of myself, which is good. Okay, so I normally, like I mentioned earlier, the spring is when I try new things. So I don't just try something once and like, that didn't work. It's like I'm a scientist, honestly. So if I try something, okay, well, these variables can change. So let me try it with these variables changed. And then I try until I hit the right combination of variables. And I'm like, okay, this one worked. Let's do it again with these variables. And it worked. It worked. That is what works. This is the only thing I'm going to focus on in the fall. And this happens with systems too. So like with systems, you have to find the one that's going to work for you, and not necessarily find, you have to make your own system, because just because someone does it this way doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You have to make your own. Okay. Number 12, break traditional ideas. So how can you challenge how things have always been done? How can you create new ways of doing them? So at some point, someone did the first Facebook party. At some point, someone did the first text party. We've already talked about this, right? So like, how can you create new ways to do things? The most successful people are looking for ways to create new traditions, create new routes to get things done, not by following the already established ones. So since he gives us these really awesome rules to play within, but how can you, so like here's their rules and we play in here. How can you play right here? Like right up against the rules, staying within compliance, but how can you, because when you do that, you're expanding. You get to do things differently than other people because they are too scared to get close. And in no way, shape, or form am I telling you to be out of compliance. But you get my drift, right? Don't be so tight that you don't try new things. Okay, next up is be goal-oriented. We talk about goals all the time, but if you don't stay focused on your goals, you are going to spend the rest of your life fulfilling someone else's goals. I can hear my dog snoring. And particularly the goals of people who are goal-oriented. So if you don't, I kind of sounded Australian there for a minute. If you don't already write your goals down every day, not at the beginning of the month, every day, you need to start writing down your goals every day. Because you know what happens when you don't write down your goals? They're out of sight, out of mind. But if I write down my goals like, oh man, I haven't sponsored enough people this month, that means that I need to have more join conversations today, right? And like I mentioned at the beginning, I track everything. So I know exactly how much PRV I need today in order to keep my paycheck where I need it to be or to grow it, right? Okay, so Now, I know that you have heard the term SMART goals before, and the R stands for realistic, but successful people are not realistic. Successful people say, I want to sell, well, let's just say if your average PRV is $2,500 a month, $2,000 a month, right? Let's get that 30% commission. If your average is $2,000 PRV a month, unrealistic is $10,000. Right? I've never done that before. 10,000, that is what? That is unrealistic. But do you want to know what happens when I set that goal and I push myself? I can guarantee you that I will have more than 2,000 PRV. So while I didn't hit that unrealistic goal, I landed way closer than I wouldn't have, is that the right word? If I didn't have that goal, right? And so I know some of you are going to say, well, if I set a goal like that, then I'm going to be upset. It's your mind. That's that mindset. Yeah, okay, you didn't hit it, but man, you did so much better than what you would have done before. Realistic thinking, small goals aren't going to provide you with any motivation, and they're going to land you right in the middle competing with the masses. Number 14, be on a mission. Unsuccessful people spend their lives thinking in terms of a job, while people who are successful are on a mission. And you can think about your mission as your why, right? So they consider their daily activities to be more important mission, and it's going to change their lives. So until you start approaching what you're doing as though you're on a mission, then you're really just reduced to working a job or a side hustle. So I think that one is probably like, wow, I never thought about it that way. Yeah, if I'm not working towards anything, it is. And for some of you, this might be a side hustle. This might just be a happy place. It might be. But if you are building a business, then it needs to be your mission. It is my mission to X, to make $5,000 this month so I can put half of that into investments, right? Like think, and that's not big, but think big. Think big, think big, think big. Okay, 15, have a high level of motivation. So highly successful people continue to look for and uncover reasons to be continually motivated. And honestly, this is probably why successful people are never satisfied, because they're always reaching for the next best thing. So if you're asking, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay motivated? You have to create new reasons to show up every day. And honestly, if you do have to create new reasons, then your why is probably not big enough. And you need to keep asking yourself, well, why is that important? Because it started with, I want to stay home for my kids. But why? Why is that important? Why? Just keep going down. But you guys know that motivation is an inside job. I can't motivate you. You can't motivate your team. Only they can do that. You can inspire, you can cast visions, but it's all on them. It is all on them. Okay, got ahead of myself. All right, number 16 is be interested in results, which is my favorite. I love results. I love the data. So until you become completely fixated on getting the results that you want, you're going to fall short of achieving anything. And that's where those goals come in. You have to know where you're going and you have to track it. What gets tracked gets improved, and what gets rewarded, recognized, gets, I don't know those things. But if you track, it makes things so much easier to be able to know where you're going and what you need to do. And honestly, I think this is one. So you need to be able to push yourself. Push yourself so that no one else has to. So for example, I mentioned earlier that Edie is my sponsor. Edie doesn't push me. She doesn't push me. I push myself. I am self-sufficient in that department. So she doesn't have to be like, come on, like there's no drag. Come on, like what's going on? Why are you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? It's me. I am doing that for myself. And be hard on yourself. You need to be hard on yourself. If you are not working into that mission and things aren't going the way that you want them to go, never let yourself off the hook until you get the results that you wanted to. And in speaking of goals, don't change the goal. Once you set that unrealistic goal, whatever, let's 10,000 PRV. You don't change the goal, you change the actions. So never change the goal, change your actions. All right, 17, create your own reality. So if you do a bit of research, you're going to find that those who have made it big, like really big, they're kind of like magicians. They do not live or operate in the world of reality because they are thinking of things that no one has thought of before, right? So how can you, and that's the great thing about being an independent consultant, is you get to create your own business within those guidelines. Do whatever you want to do to create your own business, create your own reality. I'm jumping ahead again. I'm so glad, Kim. Okay, so number 18 is be dedicated to continuous learning. So did you know that the most successful CEOs have reportedly read 60 books a year? That's more than a book a week. How many books have you read in the last month? Some of you will answer like, great, but majority of people are like, what's a book? So, and again, I am not a reader, I listen. And so if you are like, I want to listen to more books, there's an app called Blinkist, like Blinkist. It's a paid one, but I love it because it is like Cliff Notes for books. Audible. So you can listen to, they're called Blinks. So you can listen to these books and think, is this a book that I want to buy and listen to the full thing from? Successful people make time for conventions. Are you signed up for Cincy Family Reunion? If you aren't, you need to. You need to figure out a way. So if you aren't, and there's just absolutely no way that you can swing it this year, start today. Take the cost of SFR. Think about your hotel room. Think about the flight cost. Think about the food cost. Just put it all in there. Then divide that amount by 12 months. That's how much you need to save to go next time. Okay? Start today. Start today. But there has never been a book or a download or a webinar or a conference, convention, world tour. There has never been something that I've been to where I didn't pull something from it. Even if 99% of the day was like, wow, there was at least one thing where I was like, they said that, I have done that before, but the way that they have said it, I might try it this way. There is always something that you can pick up. And honestly, these successful people who are reading all of these books, they don't read books to like have the knowledge. They are looking for the one page, or one chapter, the one page, the one paragraph, the one sentence that is the game changer for them. So they're not reading the book for the entire thing. They are reading a book searching for something that will make their business different. And that is worth the $16.99 it costs to get the book. So, okay, number 19. Be uncomfortable. We all know how good it feels to stay inside of our comfort zone, but nothing good comes from our comfort zone. Nothing. Successful people are willing to put themselves in new, uncomfortable situations more often than unsuccessful people do. So, and also you might find yourself doing things that make other people uncomfortable. And that's also a sign of success, if you think about it in some ways, right? So I didn't write an example for this one, but I mean, just take Facebook parties. That has made people uncomfortable, especially in the beginning. Like, that's not how we do this. We are a party plan company in home. People need to be able to smell in person. How uncomfortable did people who Facebook partied make the home party people feel? They felt that they were being threatened, right? So that's a good thing, because look at us now, right? You never know. You never know. So some of the most important things that I have done in my life have come from a place of being uncomfortable. I have moved I don't know, I think 12 times now. I've had to restart my business so many times. So that means that I had to go out and talk to people that I didn't know a lot. So put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. All right, number 20. We are done. I didn't think I was going to make it this long. So, okay, reach up in relationships. Reach up in relationships. So I know that you guys have heard about your top 5, and this is kind of twofold. So you need to surround yourself with everything and every person that you can that is going to inspire you to think and act big. I don't know if you can hear my talk. Oh man. They are going to show you how you can reach your full potential. So look at your top 5. It's best to have people that you can actually have a conversation with in your top 5, not people that you just like follow on social media. But how can you be the dumbest person in the room? If you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You're not learning anything from anybody. So how can you be the dumbest person in the room? You always want to associate yourself with bigger thinkers, bigger dreamers, bigger players. Black belts do not learn new skills from white belts. They can be reminded of the basics, but a white belt is never going to take a black belt to a red belt. Mic drop. Okay, those are the 20 qualities, traits, habits that successful people have. So if any of those were like, oh man, then the shoe fits. That's the one that you need to take some extra time in and spend more time on. So the book, I don't have it on my iPad, which is not here. So the book that I have pulled from, that I love, that I listen to all the time, is The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I love Grant Cardone, and I love this book. So there's more. I think there's probably 30 tips, but again, I just pulled the top 20 that I felt needed to be heard today and would apply to more. There are more obvious ones, of course, that I didn't include, but if you would like to get that book, I have it on Audible. Of course, you can get Kindle or the other, paperback. But that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you picked up something. If you did and you feel comfortable sharing what you want to work on, definitely leave it down below in the comments. If you want to message me one-on-one, I would love that too. But you guys, next up in 13 minutes is Brittany Harvey for Facebook parties. So if you want to get out, you haven't done Facebook parties before, or you want to try some new ways of Facebook parties, be sure to tune into her. But you guys are so funny. I will see you guys on social media. Bye guys.